Quick video about the emotional right. They like to call themselves rational, but few of them actually are. It is what it is. You're just right wing wokes. Those of you that are, all right? You believe absolute and utter nonsense in many instances, and you think you're so much more awake than everybody else. Like you're in tune with what's actually going on, which is what the left wing wokes. I mean, those people are fucking crazy, no doubt about it. But it's in essence the same thing. They believe totally and utterly nonsensical shit, just as you do. They're absolute and utter hypocrites, just as you are. And they think they got it all figured out. And anybody that disagrees is just wrong because. And your reasons are, well, you don't have any evidence. You don't have any reasons. Now, this is hyperbole. It's exaggeration, right? The left wingers get some things right, the crazy ones even, and the people on the right get things a little bit more right. But when it comes to how wrong you guys are about shit and how much you've convinced yourself that you're the enlightened woke one, all of that is based, most of that is based in how you feel. It has nothing to do with being rational. You're woke. Of course you are. And it's only a matter of time before this becomes your name too, or they'll, give you some other moniker that essentially means the same thing. And a lot of you on the so-called right are actually leftists. It's not exactly, but it's essentially like the difference between communism and fascism, right? Yeah, they opposed each other, but they were on the same end of the fucking spectrum. They just disagreed about minor details. Now, there's still hope for some of you on the right, but because you seem to care about freedom and human rights and things of that nature, you seem to, but I think you're being, in many instances, dishonest. Because, for example, so much as you will criticize, well, we'll get to it in this video. Anyway, my last video, probably because of the title, it's so heavily censored that it says, there's like 13 or so comments on the video. But when you go, at least for me, only 3 show up, right? I have some of them in my studio, but for whatever reason, they don't show up. It's not me deleting comments. Unless you come at me with some bullshit or you say something, like really terrible, which, well, YouTube will just automatically delete it, right? But if they, for some reason, don't, I will. But I'm not going to delete your shit just because you say something stupid or you disagree with me. So this Pavel guy getting arrested, I don't see how this is a free speech issue. And I made that clear in the video. And I told you what I think it's, go watch that video, what I think this is about. And I gave you reasons, right? Evidence. Now, this could potentially be used, or it would have to escalate in order for it to become a free speech issue or the censoring thereof, right? Because they're not going after, at least ostensibly, they're not going after him providing the fact that he provided people a platform where they could say whatever they want to say, supposedly, right? They're going after things that aren't protected by free speech doctrine. And I thought this should be clear, right? Doing harm to other people, right, who have human rights, who have some kind of rights, legal, whatever you want to call them, moral, God-given rights. That type of shit is not protected by free speech. What the fuck? Where's this rationality, people? So this user says it's absolutely about free speech control. Well, I mean, that seems like a bit of a, yeah, like, sure, it's about control, right? Government means control. You need control. At least I think so, right? God, religion is about control. What's wrong with control? Oh my God, control. Oh, I'm so scared. Right? Children need to be controlled. People need to be controlled. So what? How is this about free speech? Let's see if he has any evidence. Nothing to do with protecting our most vulnerable. Nothing. Well, they're going after child traffickers, right? Child porn. That's what they're saying this is about. If you have evidence that it's not about that, provide it. Jesus, where's the rationality, bro? And look, I wasn't saying that they're motivated by that. No, I told you what the motivation was, right? Geopolitics. Yeah, control. So Russia needs to be controlled. Duh. Right? It's the moral thing to do. Duh. So I'm not saying the motivation is, and I even made that clear in the video. I thought so anyway. Go fucking watch it. I ridiculed France for having some unsavory ideas when it comes to sex with minors, and there being elements in France that were pro that. Hinted at, maybe some of these CEOs of Western companies are probably involved in some of this unsavory shit too. Yeah. So I'm not saying their motivation is to protect children. Well, whatever the fuck their motivation is, if it does, right, while not violating anybody's, God-given or legal rights, then what's the problem? Right? Just because somebody is motivated by, he has some ulterior motive, but in the end the outcome is good, then how can good be bad? Right? And if you think this is about free speech, well, provide some fucking evidence. That's all. That would be the rational thing to do. But this, anyway, only the lower level pedos get caught, or those without the proper connections, and they let us continue to listen to our governments. What? I mean, who are you talking to? What the fuck? Like, this is just prattle. As far as the moral issue, Telegram doesn't create or harbor bad people. Huh? Evidence. Right? If you're allowed to do illegal, immoral shit on Telegram, and the owner, as they're saying, is not allowing you to go after these people because he wants to protect their privacy, and he believes he have the right to privacy, even though they're committing crimes, moral and legal, then yes, he's harboring bad people. This is what's been reported. Now maybe they're all lying, but then you need to provide evidence. Jesus. This is a culture issue, but society won't look at it, and blah blah blah. Prattle. Prattle claims of protecting children are misleading. Evidence. We blame platforms instead of addressing the culture that in. What? Platforms are part of culture. Water is the essence of wetness. And then he's talking about Zelensky's suspicious dancing, right? Those deep fakes. He's talking about deep fakes, right? But he won't go, this person won't go investigate the deep fakes, even though he's got some deep fakes on his channel. Well, not exactly, but something along those lines, right? So he knows a movie could be, manipulated to be something else, send a different message, right? Maybe even made that video, I don't know. But he won't investigate the Zelensky deepfakes, right? He won't even question whether that's true or not. He just takes it as true without any questioning because, he's the rational one. He's not a woke or anything like that. It fulfills some kind of an emotional need. You need to think that this guy is all bad all the time. And look, I'm not defending him. I'm not saying there's nothing to criticize the guy about. But I mean, like, where's your fucking evidence? You don't need evidence. You see a couple of deep fakes that make you feel a certain way, and from then you build your ideology, your idea of the person. And because you have this fake idea of who this guy is, everyone that's connected to him is automatically wrong, and the mission that he's on is automatically wrong because what? Oh, a deep fake video. That's retarded. That's not rational. It's fucking retarded. So those are the only two comments apart from mine that popped up, right? Same people who caught all Epstein clients, they only care about control of Telegram. Well, okay. Yeah, it's about control of Telegram. Yes, it is. Why is that wrong? Right? Where's your evidence? They don't care about children and terrorism, all about control. Evidence! Just fucking prattle. If he is guilty, of course he should be in jail, but it smells different. So what you're saying is that it's with what, like a billion users, close to a billion users, you're saying there's absolutely no child porn on the platform. There's absolutely no crime plotting going on it with 1 billion users, right? There's absolutely, and let's be honest, the evil Ukrainians are all over that shit. So you're telling me there's zero crime going on, right? This is the rational right? Now, look, I'm not saying that they're not going to try to push it further or that this isn't a way to get in there and control speech. But insofar as things stand right now, you have no evidence. Where's the evidence? Yeah, I'm saying I agree that we should proceed with caution and make sure this doesn't spiral into, free speech violations or human rights violations. But again, free speech doesn't protect crime. Duh. And where's your evidence, Wolf Husky? You're just saying things. Neither France or Russia have free speech. I thought it was a free speech, like no evidence. If they wanted Pavel to be gone, he'd be sleeping with the fishes. They're all gangsters. Well, why would they want him gone? Right? Because he's useful, right? Russia doesn't want him gone because he's allowing Russia to spy on, Ukrainians and anybody they feel like spying on. So they need him, at least for now. And France needs him too. If they get him gone, then how do they get what they want, right? So they need him. Dog and Pony Show to censor internet, digital ID, everything is tight with Agenda 2030, right? This is Alex Jones. Like one of the least rational, most emotional men in internet history, right? The rational right. I'm not saying these things aren't real, right? But I mean, Dog and Pony Show to censor internet, digital ID, everything. You can't even punctuate. Fuck out of here. What about any Western government makes you think they care about anything other than more control and serving who bribes them? Any Western government makes you think they care about anything other than more control and serving who bribes them. Well, that's newsflash, buddy, right? Governments are about control. Politics is about control. Yeah, it's about power, control, structure. The question is, does any of this control impinge on our God-given rights? That's what I believe, so I'm going to use that. Okay? Is any of this control immoral? God, religion is all about control. Well, not all about, but that's big. it's a big part of it, right? Isn't God Almighty the King? Isn't he all powerful? Right? When it comes to God, you don't have any privacy because he's omniscient. You don't have any power because he's omnipotent, right? He's the boss. You don't have any human rights if God doesn't want you to have any, right? He gives them to you, meaning he can take them away for any reason. His most Catholic Majesty says, right? It's all about control. What about any Western government make you think that they care about anything other than more control and serving who bribes them? Okay, so I'm not saying like bribery doesn't exist. I'm not saying governments aren't corrupt, right? Yeah, I allow for all of that. But the reason why these concepts even exist, right? Why you could identify them, right? Is because the opposite of these concepts also exists. And yes, there are people in governments that do care about certain things that are moral and correct and are interested in that also, right? Just this idea that it's all bad, all evil, all the time, and all of them are in on it is the most low IQ, emotional drivel I've ever fucking heard. If that were the case, you couldn't even tell me this, right? Because this is how fucking stupid that is. They just want more control, more power, and they're all in on it, right? And here I am speaking out against them, and you know, somehow I'm able to read it. And you could go out on what's that soapbox in UK, and you could say all that, right? Can't you? So, what about any Western government makes you think that they care about anything other than more control? Well, one Western government just repealed Roe v. Wade, right? You're pro-life, right? Yeah, it's about control. Of course it is. But don't you like that kind of control? That kind of control is good, right? Do you think some of the people who were instrumental in repealing that, don't you think they were motivated by what's morally right? Now, I'm not saying that there weren't other people. The way this got pushed through is because, well, yeah, they want more people on the people farm, right? Yeah, it's about control, obviously, to keep the economy going and things hopefully booming, right? Don't you want some Western economies to do well, right? Don't you want people in the West to prosper? So yeah, in order to get something like the repealing of Roe v. Wade through, you probably needed a coalition of a lot of different types of people motivated by various things. Sure. But don't you think some of them were motivated by what's right? Like a lot of the people that voted for them to get this through, right? Been voting for pro-lifers for decades. Right? It's a democracy. I'm not saying like it's a perfect system, but I mean, you know, if you don't give the people what they want ever, even in authoritarian, not yet totalitarian Russia, they have to be careful how they move. They can't just mobilize everybody. The people will rebel. Even in a country that's a democracy only in name, Russia is a democracy in the sense. It's just a circle of, I don't know, maybe just 1,000 oligarchs that get to decide what happens. And it's not really a democracy because if you have different ideas, then your plane falls out of the fucking sky. So I mean, come on. Um, but I guess you raised your hand to strike the king. So there it is, the king. Yeah. You could make an argument that in some sense Russia is, even an oligarchy, you could say, is a democracy, right? So yeah, there's a lot of things that prove to you that the governments do care, or some people in some governments do care about their people to some degree, right? And it's not all about control. If it was all about control and that's all they wanted, well, why would someone like you be allowed to breathe? That makes no sense. Yes, things are bad. Things are progressively getting worse, okay? But that doesn't mean that these sort of extremist, one sided, black pilled takes, right, are correct. In the UK, they tell us the kids wanted to get drugged and taken advantage of by a gang. If you think this is about the children, you're a sucker, right? So this person can't even listen to what's being said in the video. Like you can't even process information that's being provided to you, is right in front of you, and draw the conclusions that you can't even address the argument. You just have to invent shit, right? Like, I mean, what can I tell you? You're useless. You're not providing anything. You're just whining, and you're making shit up. You sound black pilled to me, and that's fucked up. That's not Catholicism. Comments just don't want to be posted. Yeah, ain't that the truth? Anyway, yeah, if you guys who are on the right think you're so rational, how come you don't make any fucking? You make some sense, but how come? Why are you so emotionally driven, motivated? You're so into your fucking feelings. You can't even hear what's being said. You can't even. You don't understand nuance. You can't grasp that people are different, even though, well, look at you, you're different. Why don't you believe that someone who holds some of the same beliefs that you hold could make their way into a government and make a change, right? Because you're supposed to think that, maybe, right? So that you don't try to make a difference. That's why you're so fatalist, black pilled. You think that it's all controlled, they're all powerful. You worship them, right? So much as some of you seem to profess your belief in God and be religious, who you really worship is the government. Not because it's benevolent or great or whatever, it's because it's omnipotent and you don't see a way out. You literally worship the fucking government, right? Doesn't mean you love them. You just submit it to them. It seems like a sick type of worship to me. Like, it's like you have no faith in God. That good doesn't exist. I mean, how fucking stupid is that? How incoherent is that, right? The rational right, so many people on the right believe in God and good, right? But, well, governments have more power than God. Like, I mean, that seems retarded to me. I mean, maybe I'm the one who is, but it just seems a little bit retarded. I'm just saying. I don't, I don't see too much rationality on the right. I don't, because, well, first of all, a lot of you don't even understand that you're leftists, and I've explained to you why, and no one's been able to tell me otherwise. Real quick, before I wrap up this video, maybe you could tell me how I'm wrong, right? The reason why you guys are leftists is because the true political spectrum, I've said this many times before, politics is about power, right? Obviously, it's about control. You seem to know this. And to the left on the political spectrum is, the more left you move, the more government control you're talking about, right? Less individual freedom, more government control. The more to the right you move, it's the opposite, right? The individual has more power. The political spectrum, right, is governmental, is the spectrum of governmental versus individual power. The more to the right you move, the more individual freedom. The more to the left you move, the more totalitarianism, government power, right? Simple, easy to understand, the only political spectrum that makes sense to me anyway, right? Tell me how I'm wrong. So these people that, a lot of them, not all, these people that profess to be on the right, they're advocating for the taking away of human rights. They say human rights don't exist. A lot of them, right? They support Russia, China, the modern day axis of evil, more evil, the greater evil, right? Freedom is a dirty word to them, right? They want to control people's lives. They're like pro Sharia law, some of them, right? Christian Sharia law. They're pro Putin's jihad, right? Holy war, right? The anti. You guys are leftists. A lot of you, right? I mean, yeah, when it's convenient and you want to whine about the people you don't like, your Western governments that are oppressing you. Look, if you're so oppressed by your Western government, move to Russia, right? Move to China, right? Move to China. Now, I'm not saying you couldn't have more freedom in rural China somewhere, right? But you have to be autonomous. Can you do that? Yeah. Anyway, so do you want to? So, yeah, I mean, this whole thing could be used to stifle free speech, and I think it's fair to, keep your spidey senses turned on and, yeah, proceed with caution, no doubt about it. But as things stand right now, the way this is presented, well, I already told you what this is about. Why it's France versus Russia to a large degree. It's geopolitics, right? And I don't see how this is how you seem to think that, because that's ultimately is what you're saying, that it's not okay for France to. That's what they're claiming to do. If you think they're doing something else, you need evidence. You can't just whine and say things and everyone has to believe it, right? Well, look at Zelensky. He was doing a gay dance in the CGI video, so this is about free speech. I mean, really? This is the argument? I mean, do I even have to tell you how fucking retarded that is? Right? And ultimately, if you can't, it doesn't make sense to me, okay? To tell me that you're Christian and that government is omnipotent. Who's your God? I'm just saying. Thanks for watching.